Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Mob Psycho 102. I'm flipping you off in the UK, but that's alright. Last time on Mob Psycho 102, we had Ripped Apart. Someone is watching. So yeah, there was a whole mess of things that happened that led to Mob had a girlfriend, except he didn't, and she lied. She lied about why she was hanging out with him. But then she was basically like, oh, you suck because you don't, express feeling or anything. And he was just like, you know what, I'm going to try harder to express how I feel, to actually, express to people. And she was like, it's pretty cool. And then at the end, it was revealed that Tsubomi was actually watching them. She was the someone who was watching. So yeah, it was a good first episode. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I guess that's that. So, like always, the reaction is down in the description and the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So why don't we go ahead and jump right into this episode of Mob Psycho 100. Here we go. Alrighty, that was funny. That was an interesting twist on it, that Mob can hurt the Dragger because he does not fear the Dragger, because he does not know urban legends like that. However, he is traumatized by Dash Granny because it's something he does. He runs. He runs with the Body Improvement Club, and she beat him. She ran faster than him. Oh, that was fun. Man, and again, it's kind of what I said last episode, with the beginning of last episode, is like, man, all that Claw stuff was good, but it's kind of nice to get back to what we started Mob Psycho with, you know? We started with them, going around and doing stuff and, fighting these, evil spirits and stuff. So I'm glad to get back to that a little bit, So yeah, that was really, really good. We got a rival for Reagan. Someone who, though, is actually a psychic, to his credit. To his credit, he is actually a psychic. I would imagine, though, he's probably not too much higher than the kids that Ritsu was with last season. I don't remember any of their names, but the ones who are being trained by Teruki now. So yeah, but still, he tried, and he's, I don't know, I guess maybe that makes him a little bit more legit than Reagan is. I don't know. Man, again, though, Reagan, honestly, he's, despite the whole con man thing, he's the man you should aspire to be, And I do just like when he's like, there needs to be adults like us who deal with little shits like you, who draw on a man's dog, And then they even offer to clean the dog, to give him a bath, clean him up and stuff. So that was really nice. So, he's just so cool. He's so cool. Even though yes, he is, well, he's slightly a con man in the fact that he doesn't have the psychic powers, but the service he provides is kind of legit, Hey, they defeated the Dragger, so that's at least something. And also a pervert. That was weird. That it was like, but I like that Reagan is smart, and he's like, oh, well, we need to look this up online. We can't just go ask kids, because then that's gonna look suspicious. Cut to the guy. I don't remember his name, but cut to the guy asking kids and things getting weird, and it's like, oh, man, this guy's looking sus to the people, But then there you go, he found the actual person. It's like, oh, this isn't an urban legend, like, a cryptid or something. It's like, no, this is just a pervert. There's just a pervert who flashes kids. It's terrible. Ugh. It's so terrible, you know? But I did really enjoy the fighting game that broke out for a second. Again, just the style and the animation and just the level of humor in this show is always a treat, you know? And this one, you could say this episode was probably funnier than the last one, and it just depends on the scenario, you know? Pretty much, if you're gonna be with Reagan, if the episode's about Reagan, it's probably funnier, you know? But even that, which, that was a moment that didn't have Reagan, but still, that was really, really interesting that it was just a fighting game, and then he ran off, you know? So that was funny. And then that's when things got scary, the dragger. And again, man, I'm very curious about the manga, Like, I would be curious to check out the manga a little bit, because from, like, the first scene of episode 1 in season 1, I was blown away by the animation in this show. Like, it's just so amazing, And I also really like it, too. I like the animation in this because it's not, like, what I'm going to refer to as stock shonen animation, Like, you can look at shows like Demon Slayer, and I love these shows, You can look at Demon Slayer and My Hero Academia and like shows, modern shows like that, and it's like, all right, these are all cut from the same cloth. They're probably made by the same studios anyway. No, I don't know why I said that, because Demon Slayer is clearly a different whatever. You get my point, though. It's like these are all cut from the same cloth. They're the same. It's the same type of animation as Star Platinum. No, but you know what I mean. And here, honestly, this kind of reminds me, like, this kind of calls back to maybe more 90s or like earlier animations, Like, I don't know, just the sort of roughness of the characters and stuff, but also still, it's so stylized and so, I guess you could say, cartoony, with, like, its expressions and its movements and stuff like that, but it's just, it's so amazing, But for something like the fight with the Dragger, I would be very curious how that looks in the manga, And I'm sure it's beautiful in the manga, But just seeing, it's like, man, it's so amazing just seeing it in this animation. The animators are so amazing, so hope they get paid some good big bucks for that. I hope that, but yeah, these guys are great. So, and that's not to say that people do Demon Slayer aren't great. Demon Slayer is great. Demon Slayer has god tier animation through and through, but it's a very different kind of animation to this. But yeah, that fight with the Dragger was good. I love Dimple showing what he can do, even if it wasn't enough to beat the Dragger, but I enjoyed that. But yeah, he held off long enough, and then I like how it's like oh yeah, she gets she gets all this power from the fact that she trends on social media and stuff like that, and it's like, man, that's crazy. But that's the thing, is that yeah, it's basically that the imagination of all the people created the Dragger, created this, I guess, evil spirit, basically, but in a different way than the other evil spirits that we see. And I like that idea. That's an interesting concept, And, there are other shows that talk about, like, oh, well, how much power is there in a thought and stuff, and so that, I feel like kind of, it kind of is very similar to that, where it's like, yeah, it's all these people who have just imagined this, and all of that fear goes in, and it's all sort of concentrated, and does actually become something. And it makes sense, because that is, it's basically, psychic powers, psychic coming from the mind. It's your mind using, psychic powers are your mind controlling the world around you. So even if there's so many people out there that, don't have pretty much any psychic powers, the fact that there's so many of them all thinking the same thoughts and fearing the same fears, all of that concentrates and then creates the Dragger. And that's that's really interesting, you know? So yeah, that was really, really interesting. I enjoyed that. And I also liked how it's like, yeah, you know, it feeds off of the fear of its victims. But Mob doesn't fear it, you know? Like, that's really interesting that he just does not fear it. So he just completely destroys it. It's like, oh, that's it. It's like he doesn't have, because he has no connection to that, you know? He has no connection to that kind of, you know, urban legend or anything like that. So it doesn't affect him, and he can destroy the Dragger really easily, you know? So I enjoy that. But then the one thing he does fear is losing a race to an old grandma, and that got him. So yeah, Dash Granny. I also just like Dash Granny isn't, you know, a spirit or a cryptid or what have you, I mean, it's an urban legend, but it's also just a granny who likes to run. That's it. She's just a real person who likes to run. It's just that while she's running through a tunnel, you know, she doesn't, you know, stop and be like, oh, hello, you know, I like to run. She doesn't stop. She's got to keep running, so she just goes, and it scares the shit out of everyone, you know? So yeah, that was funny. And again, you know, Mob doesn't have any connection to these sort of, you know, urban legends, but what he does have a connection to is running, because he's in the Body Improvement Club, and he's terrible at running. So when he sees that, you know, grandma outrun him, it destroys him, because this is what he does, and he was beaten by an old granny, you know? So that was funny. I enjoyed that. But yeah, great episode. Really, really enjoyed it. And yeah, can't wait to see where we are going next time. But that is basically it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist for all of my Mob Psycho 102 reactions if you want to go check those out. It's also just the whole playlist anyway. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.